Welcome to the Land House channel. Today I have the honor of introducing you to the Big Battery Ethos 48 volt lithium iron phosphate whole house battery. I've been provided the 15 kilowatt hour battery to power my workshop off grid using a large Lux Power inverter. The Big Battery Ethos is a great option for both on-grid and off-grid use. Now you'll hear me talk about the Lux Power 12K, which is this big inverter right here. But if you want to have an off-grid system and still have 12 kilowatts, you can buy two of the 6K inverters and run them together to get 12K and save a bunch of money. So keep that in mind. I'll have links for that in the description down below. Today I want to do an unboxing of this battery system, show you all the features of it, and then in the next video we will do a full install and see how well this battery performs. Now the first thing I want to mention is that this battery is very heavy, right at 350 pounds that I had to move from the truck in here to the studio. Now my access road was quite muddy, so I did that with the four-wheeler and it worked out pretty good. That being said, each of the four boxes is still pretty heavy. The batteries themselves are a little over 100 pounds and the control box that we'll get into here first is about 50 pounds. So just be careful whenever you are lifting these. I recommend that you use somebody else to help you to get these wherever you need to put them. So don't do what I do and pick these boxes up by yourself. All right, to begin, let's start with unboxing the control box and see everything that comes in this system. Big Battery sent me some gloves to use because these boxes are heavy. So thank you, Big Battery, for doing that. Let's get started here. You'll know you're working with the control box because it's half the weight of the battery modules, but still quite heavy. Let's see what all comes in this box. I just finished getting everything unpackaged for the Ethos control box, so let's go ahead and go through everything that was included in this package. So first of all, we have the Ethos control module, which is up here, and we'll set this aside for just a moment and go over that in more detail. There's also a base, which the entire battery will be mounted onto, and that will spread out the load and keep that battery from ever having issues as it's being mounted on the floor. Cables. There are a number of cables that were sent. This one right here is a set of red and black cables. They seem to be about 3 feet long, and this right here is designed to go from the control box down to the very bottom battery, and that will link up those batteries from the whole stack into the control box. So there's a black one of those and a red. Now they use a specific type of connector which has a push button on the side to release, and it also has a rubber gasket in there, so it helps with being dust and water resistant. We'll take a look at those pieces as need be here in a bit. Now there are also two sets of 5-foot cables, that are both red and black. This is going to go from the control box to your inverter. Once again, it has the push button quick connect on one side. The other side though has just been a straight wire. So that's going to be going into, in my case, the Lux Power 12K inverter. So like I said, there is 2 black, 2 red of those cables. And lastly, we have a data cable. This is going to allow the BMS or battery maintenance system to communicate between the inverter and the control box. Now on this cable, there is a screw right here that will allow this to be attached and prevent water or bugs or dust from getting to this connection. And that is really nice to see. Some people will mount these in a place that could be outdoors. This does have a water resistance to it if you have space for that. Now here in my workshop, I'm going to be doing this all inside. To get the most up-to-date version of the user manual for the Big Battery Ethos, you can scan the QR code that is included with the battery. I personally like to have a printed out copy of the user manual so it's easy to reference whenever I'm getting things set up. So if you want to do that, you can easily print out a version for yourself or just use your cell phone to have that available through the QR code. There is also a user manual, which is a lot of pages bound together in this book right here. And I've actually just finished reading through this, and it is nice and detailed. I will show you some of that here in just a moment. Now, one thing about Big Battery, this is a built in the USA, it's shipped from the US, has customer service in the US, so if you are based in the US, this is a great product to have in order to get some local service if you need to. All right, that's all of the cables and user manual there. Let's look at the control box up close and see what it's all about. This is the control model. It will be mounted on top of the battery modules. We'll get to that here in just a moment. On the front, it's got the Ethos logo powered by Big Battery. Over here on this side is the display, which we will go into more detail. And if I turn this to one of the sides, for instance, over here, it's got this protective decorative piece, and that is going to be popped out. There we go. That's just a plastic piece that hides all of your connections so that nobody makes any accidental touches of those. So down here on the bottom, there is a ground screw. That's important. You've got your battery communication and your inverter communication. They are very well labeled and easy to understand. You've got your P positive, P negative, P positive, P negative. So these right here are going to be going to the inverter to power that up here from the, well, from your angle, it's the left side of the control board. And like I said before, you can see the quick connect. Man, that's on there pretty good. Well, the cables are quick connect, but these protective pieces are not. There we go. So yeah, that cable will just easily snap into that, which I can actually show you real quick. So just for reference, I've got that cable and it will just simply snap into place like that. And it's on there pretty good. It will swivel. And if I want to release that, there's a push button on the side, which I can easily pop that loose. So you hear that sound? That thing has got a good watertight connection. Nice. All right, we'll get to those here later on. Now let's turn this to the other side so we can see what's happening over here. Just like the other side, it's got this plastic protective cover. Just got a screwdriver, I can push those tabs in to help this come loose. Way better than trying to pull it by hand. All right, so here is the breaker, which is labeled right up here. Easy to see. And you can say on is up here, off is down here. And in order to get to that, you have to take out this screw and be able to open up that little drawer there. So not easy to make a mistake and accidentally flip that breaker. There we go. You can open that up, and now I can flip this on or off. Currently it's in the off position. Now these two connections right here are going to be going to the batteries. So if I have, look down here, battery positive, battery negative, and battery negative. So I'll go over the wiring diagram here in just a bit, but just keep in mind that those are going to go to the batteries. The user manual has a bunch of great information, but if you're here just to get a brief overview of this battery, that might be boring to you. So I'm gonna hold off and give you this at the end of the video. Let's go ahead and bring one of the boxes up here for the battery modules and get that unboxed as well. All right, this box is heavy. So I've got my table down at the lowest spot here. Let me see if I can't lift this up here and not hurt myself. It's so heavy. Good thing I work out, right? Yep, that's heavy. Okay, I managed to get this box up on the sit-stand desk and unbox it. So one of the first things I realized is that the rubber stoppers that you see here on the top, I thought they were supposed to be feet and went on the bottom, but actually they go on the top, which means the handles that I was trying to use from the bottom are meant to be on the top, which makes a lot more sense than I was first thinking. So first off, you can see there is the battery itself. It has two of the protective plastic covers that will cover up the wiring on the side, which is good to have for consistency's sake. There are two battery cables, and these will link from one battery unit to the next, so they are not very long, and that means they will save a lot of space and not be cumbersome to work with. There's also a data cable, and both sides of this has the little plastic screw on there to keep out dust and debris, and that cable is just long enough to reach from battery to battery. There are also two different wall mount brackets that will be very handy to keep this unit from falling off the wall or falling forward. All right, so that's that. Let's go ahead and look at the battery itself. The front face of the battery is just blank and very clean and stylish. I like that a lot. If you move over here to this side, which hopefully don't scratch my tabletop too much. There we go. So over here, there is a carrying handle, which proved to be very helpful getting this out of the box. And I imagine as I stack these 3 high, that will be very important to have here in just a bit. There is a ground screw up here. As you can see, there is a COM port 1, and that unscrews just like the one on the control box does. So that'll be good to connect those data cables. Moving down here, there's the SOC, which stands for State of Charge. There are 4 different LEDs with this little ramp icon, and that will show the current state of the battery. The switch down here is the on and off button. There's a plate here that covers up the ID reset, so we won't be getting to that. And then down here, there is COM2 and another ground screw down here on the bottom. All right, let me move on to the other side here, which is the back. You won't really be seeing this once it's installed, but this has a couple of screws that are holding things together. Nothing that we should ever have to worry about accessing. Now moving on to this last side over here. Taking a look, there are a few things to see. Another handle up here. It's got a information sticker so you can see some info on the battery. There's the battery positive, battery positive, battery negative, and then a breaker here in the middle. Once again, it has that safety screw that you have to unscrew. It says off down here and on up here. Lithium iron phosphate, 48 volt Ethos from Big Battery, 51.2 volts DC, 100 amp hours, 5,120 watt hours, 43.2 to 57 volts. There we go. That's a quick overview of this battery module. Now that we've seen both the control module and one of the batteries, let's go ahead and stack all of these on top of each other and see what it looks like as one unit. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to take one battery module and put it on the base and then stack the control box on top of that just to see how everything fits together. If you want to see all 15 kilowatt hours put together, you'll have to stay tuned to the next video where I put them all in my utility closet. So let's go ahead and move this battery unit onto this base here. Have the base down here, the battery module, and then the control box up here. Now these side panels, of course, will go here in the future to hide that, but for now I'm just going to keep them off. What's really going to keep this in place is using those brackets against the wall. Very important to keep that in mind so you don't bump into this during the install and knock it off. Now the control box does have those indentions underneath here, and those rubber stoppers fit in there and keep this from falling off, which is good to see. All right, that's the basic idea of how these batteries will be able to stack on top of one another. Now, as promised, let's go over some of the information found in the user manual real quick. Now, there's a bunch of info in here that I won't be covering, so whenever you get one of these batteries, you can check it out for yourself. The width in this direction is 27 inches. For the 15K battery, it's 5 foot, and the depth here is a little bit over 6 inches. So be sure to have plenty of space in your setup for all of that. And now for some of the specs on this battery. I currently only have one of the modules in place for display, but this is a 15 kilowatt hour battery, and so I've got 3 of them that will be in total. The system voltage is 48 volts. The nominal voltage is 51.2 volts. It is a lithium iron phosphate battery. It has 15 kilowatt hours with a amp capacity of 300 amp hours. The charging voltage range is 55.6 to 57 volts. And the max charge voltage is 58.8. They recommend that you don't go that high though on this system. The operating voltage range is 48 volts to 57 volts. And the suggested low voltage cutoff is 48 to 50.8. I like to keep my system a little on the higher side, and that way I'm not discharging this battery as much as it can. Hopefully that'll keep its life up there pretty good. Speaking of life, the warranty on this system is 10 years, and with normal charging and discharging, you should get about 10 years of life out of this battery. Awesome, very cool. The max continuous discharge is 250 amps. The maximum continuous output power is 12,800 watts. And that's why this 15K battery works so well with the Lux Power 12K. That way you can produce that 12,000 watts from this battery. The max charging current is 200 amps. The charging temperature is 32 degrees up to 113 degrees. And that concludes my introduction and overview of the Big Battery Ethos whole house battery system. Now they have given me a discount code so you can save big money. I'll have that in the description down below, so please check that out if you're looking to get a whole house battery such as this. Like I mentioned before, this is the first of several videos that I'm going to be bringing to you. This is just the overview. We'll have the full install next, and then several videos after that showing how this battery system powers a workshop off-grid. Now this would apply to using your home off-grid as well, so keep that in mind. I'm Seth with Land to House. Be sure to check out the links to this battery down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.